Today I'm going to reveal the 5 lies which you have been told to. So by means of that, they keep you stuck where you are and also keep you just over broke. So let's reveal it straight away. So in that case, the first one is nothing but they told you to buy a house or an investment property with a debt or a mortgage, right? So if they say so, when you bought a property, your own house, in the name of mortgage or through by means of debt, what's happening here? Now you tied up to for another 30 years. Say for example, if you bought a house, now they say mortgage for 30 years. You have been tied up to pay for it for 30 years. So when you're going to pay for it, what happens is after 1 or 2 years, now they come and say that in the name of equity. Now you can go and buy the investment property. So what happens when the moment you go for equity, you are going to top up the mortgage. To pay that 30 years, now you have to work. If you don't work, now what happens? The money is not going to flow in. So now you're going to work for 30 years to pay for it. Oh, what's wrong in it, you might ask. So if you stop working, what happens to the cash flow? Does the money still flows? Is the biggest question here. So here you have been tied up to work for 30 years because when you stop working, money is not going to flow in, thinking that this is going to eventually you'll be paying off. That's what the thing they have said to you. Whereas during the 30 years course, you have so much time where you will not be having a time freedom at all because you are so much locked in to pay the mortgage for another 30 years. Even if they say so, that is the only way to create an asset, then why, according to the statistics, there are 1.66 as of August 2024, there are 1.66 million Australians are in mortgage stress. 80% of the people who are having the mortgage are under stress in such a way they don't have a time for themselves. They don't have a time to spend with their family because of the workload to pay off this. And also, the median income household requires 11.4 years just to deposit for a 20% deposit for a mortgage. So you can see how far it is actually burning the people to stay trapped. The reason why they are doing is just to sell their mortgage, sell their debt to you. What the main reason is. Whereas the rich and wealthy people don't do this way at all because they don't get trapped into the mortgage or the debt because they focus on something else, which I'm going to reveal it later. So that is the first one. I can go further more details, that will be in a different episode. The second one is nothing but the bank advisors. If you think that the bank advisors are actually telling you the fact for you, or the financial advisors are telling you the fact for you, if you think so, they're going to show you the way to create the wealth. Whereas if the bank advisors or any financial advisors, if they don't talk about the cash flow, rather they say about this is what your income is, this is what your borrowing power is, this is what your serviceability is. Based on that, you can go and buy a house or investment property because this is a way to create the wealth. If they say so, that is not the real truth or real fact. Because again, based on their advice, without knowing about the cash flow, go and get into this trap. The first lie, again you'll be loaded for another 30 years to work. So whatever the bank advisors or the financial advisors, if they dictate you or condition you or they tell you to buy a house or investment property based on the debt or the mortgage without talking about the cash flow, when you are just earning a capped linear income through a job or small business, that is not going to make you wealthy at all. Rather, it is going to make you to stay stuck. So they are not. They are just telling the lies. The third most important thing is, this is one of the commonest fancy term, passive income. Oh, now if you buy a house or if you buy an investment property, that is the way to create a passive income in the next 10 years or after 10 years because it's a long-term game. Of course, that's right. But at the same point of time, as long as you're working to pay this, and then when you stop working, the money is not flowing, even though the passive income, it is not going to create the freedom for you to either come out to the job or small business. Rather than the freedom, it might give some sort of flexibility, but not the real freedom for you even after 10 years. Get this. The reason because this is just a passive income. you're still working, there is no cash flow. So that's why the passive income is going to give you the freedom is a lie. Passive income might give you the flexibility, but without having a cash flow which is not tied to the time, it is never going to give any sort of freedom. So in that case, passive income which is going to give you the freedom and the wealth is an absolute lie without a cash flow. The fourth most important thing is, you all have been told, work-life balance. That's how 97% of the people have been so much doomed or conditioned with a work-life balance. Work-life balance is an absolute lie. That's not how the 3% of wealthy people do. What you need is an alignment. Work-life balance without an alignment, either in a job or business, is not going to provide you wealth, or it's not going to make you to be free at all. So work-life balance is an absolute lie. Working for 48 weeks and you have a free time only for 4 weeks in a year is never gonna make you wealthy at all, while you're paying for the another 30 to 40 years in your mortgage. It's an income trap. So work-life balance is an absolute lie. The last but not the least is nothing but the job or a small business or self-employment or multiple streams of income. This is one of the absolute fancy terms they use. All these is going to make you wealthy. That is an absolute lie again. Because the job or small business or self-employment, if you stop working, money is not going to stop. Money is not going to flow at all. It means that what you're making is just a capped linear income. Because your income is tied up to the time. Because you believe, they have told you to believe time is money, which is not. That is not how the 3% of wealthy people create their wealth. As long as if you say time is money, time is limited, so eventually you will make a capped income. This capped income is no way gonna create any sort of wealth at all. That's why they brought in and say that, multiple streams of income. You must have this. And if you're going to focus on each and every bit of it, eventually your focus is distracted. When your focus is distracted, then you will not be 100% in anything. That is why many of the people, those who are doing a job or multiple jobs or multiple part-time or full-time job and also doing a small business and also even evening doing some sort of a Uber Eats or Uber Drive or real estate agents or doing something else in the self-employment or DIY, whatever it is, they never get wealthy. Rather, they lack time freedom, because when they stop working, because that income is based on the time, eventually they can't make money to pay what they're committed for their 30 years mortgage or the debt. That is not how the 3% are creating their wealth. So these lies are making you to stay stuck in where you are, and also it is making you to just over broke. You must come out of this lie, because this is not the way how the 3% are creating their wealth. You got this, what I mean to say here. You must come out of that trap by means of finding a way. First and foremost, by means of finding a way, the cash flow through the uncapped leveraged income. You must find a business. You may start with a job or anywhere here, but you must find a business towards making an uncapped leveraged income which is not tied up to the time. That is what is going to enhance your cash flow. Once you have the cash flow which is not tied up to the time, you eventually can able to achieve the time freedom. Once you have the time freedom, then afterwards you can optimize, maximize, scale and duplicate to make more money by making the money to work hard for you. Then you can diversify that either in the property or in stocks or in shares. That is exactly the way to make a passive income eventually as well. That is an ultimate way for you to create the true wealth, freedom and flexibility in your life. Get to know this and escape out of these lies, escape out of this trap, because you are here to live your life to the fullest. We succeed together.